Cade Mila Falcha. Welcome to Irish Granny Tarot. I've been hunting for a poem on the eve of the coronation of Charles in England. And I won't belabor any of it, but I discovered an interesting poem by Percy Shelley, written in 1819, called The Masque of Anarchy. It's quite long, and I picked out a few verses that I'd like to read. He was revolutionary. I guess, I studied him a long time ago, and I really didn't pay attention because apparently he was quite anti-monarchy, anti-war, pro-peace, and pro-global unity, anti-imperialism. He was an interesting character. So this is The Masque of Anarchy. In part, I'm skipping some of the parts that weren't necessary entirely. I hope you'll forgive me. So, The Masque of Anarchy. Last came Anarchy. He rode on a white horse, splashed with blood. He was pale even to the lips like death in the apocalypse. And he wore a kingly crown, and in his grasp a scepter shone, and on his brow this mark I saw: I am God and King and Law. With a pace stately and fast over English land he passed, trampling to a mire of blood the adoring multitude. And a mighty troop around with their trampling shook the ground, waving each a bloody sword for the service of their Lord. And with glorious triumph they rode through England, proud and gay, drunk as with intoxication of the wine of desolation. O'er fields and towns from sea to sea passed the pageant, swift and free, tearing up and trampling down, till they came to London town. And each dweller, panic-stricken, felt his heart with terror sicken, hearing the tempestuous cry of the triumphs of anarchy. For with pomp to meet him came, clothed in arms like blood and flame, the hired murderers who did sing, Thou art God and Law and King. We have waited weak and lone for thy coming, mighty one. Our purses are empty, our swords are cold. Give us glory and blood and gold. Lawyers and priests, a motley crew, to the earth their pale brows bowed like a bad prayer, not over loud, whispering, Thou art Law and God. Then all cried with one accord, Thou art King and God and Lord. Anarchy, to thee we bow, be thy name made holy now. And Anarchy the skeleton bowed and grinned to everyone, as well as if his education had cost 10 millions to the nation. For he knew the palaces of our kings were knightly his the scepter, crown, and globe, and the gold inwoven robe. So he sent his slaves before to seize upon the bank and tower, and was proceeding with intent to meet his pensioned parliament. Then it goes on to say, Men of England, heirs of glory, heroes of unwritten story, nurslings of one mighty mother, hopes of her and one another, rise like lions after slumber in unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew which in sleep had fallen on you. What is freedom? You can tell that which slavery is too well, for its very name has grown to an echo of your own. 'Tis to work and have such pay as just keeps life from day to day. In your limbs as in a cell for the tyrants used to dwell, so that ye for them are made loom and plough and sword and spade, with or without your own will, bent to their defence and nourishment. 'Tis to see your children weak with their mother's pine and peak, when the winter winds are bleak, they are dying whilst I speak. 'Tis to hunger for such diet as the rich man in his riot casts to the fat dogs that lie surfeiting beneath his eye. 'Tis to let the ghost of gold take from toil 1,000-fold more than e'er its substance could in the tyrannies of old. Paper coin, that forgery of the title deeds which ye hold to something of the worth of the inheritance of earth. 'Tis to be a slave in soul, and to hold no strong control over your own wills, but be all that others make of ye. And at length when ye complain with a murmur weak and vain, 'tis to see the tyrant's crew ride over your wives and you, blood is on the grass like dew. Then it's to feel revenge, fiercely thirsting to exchange blood for blood and wrong for wrong. Do not thus when ye are strong. This is slavery. Savage men or wild beasts within a den would endure not as ye do, but such ills they never knew. What art thou, freedom? Oh, could slaves answer from their living graves this demand, tyrants would flee like a dream's dim imagery. Thou art wisdom. Freedom never dreams that God will damn forever all who think those things untrue of which priests make such ado. Thou art peace. Never by thee would blood and treasure wasted be, as tyrants wasted them, when all leagued to quench thy flame in gall. Thou art love. The rich have kissed thy feet, and like him following Christ, give their substance to the free, and through the rough world follow thee. Oh, turn thy wealth to arms, and make war for thy beloved's sake on wealth and war and fraud, whence they drew the power which is their prey. Science and poetry and thought are thy lamps. Thy make the lot of the dwellers in a cot so serene they curse it not. Spirit, patience, gentleness, all that can adorn and bless art thou. Let deeds, not words, express thine exceeding loveliness. Let a great assembly be of the fearless, of the free, on some spot of English ground where the plains stretch wide round. Let the blue sky overhead, the green earth on which ye tread, all that must eternal be, witness the solemnity. From the corners uttermost of the bounds of English coast, from every hut, village, and town, where those who live and suffer moan for others' misery and their own. From the workhouse and the prison, where pale as corpses newly risen, women, children, young and old, groan for pain and weep for cold. From the haunts of daily life, where is waged the daily strife with common wants and common cares, which sow the human heart with tears. Lastly, from the palaces, where the murmur of distress echoes like the distant sound of the wind alive around. Those prison halls of wealth and fashion, where some few feel such compassion for those who groan and toil and wail, as must make their brethren pale. Ye who suffer woes untold, or to feel or to behold your lost country bought and sold with a price of blood and gold, let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare with measured words that ye are, as God has made ye, free. Be you strong, and simple words keen to wound as sharpened swords, and wide as targes let them be with their shade to cover ye. Let the tyrants pour around with a quick and startling sound, like the loosening of a sea, troops of armed emblazonry. Let the charged artillery drive till the dead air seems alive with the clash of clanging wheels and the tamp of horses' heels. Let the fixed bayonet gleam with sharp desire to whet its bright point in English blood, looking keen as one for food. Let the horsemen's scimitars wheel and flash like sphereless stars, thirsting to eclipse their burning in the sea of death and mourning. Stand ye calm and resolute like a forest, close and mute, with folded arms and looks which are weapons of an unvanquished war, and let panic, who outspeeds the career of armed steeds, pass a disregarded shade through your phalanx, undismayed. Let the laws of your own land, good or ill, between you stand hand to hand and foot to foot, arbiters of the dispute. Let's see. And if then the tyrants dare, let them ride among you there, slash and stab and maim and hew what they like. Let them do with folded arms and steady eyes and little fear and less surprise. Look upon them as they stay till their rage has died away. Then they will return with shame to the place from which they came, and the blood thus shed will speak in hot blushes on their cheek. And slaughter to the nation shall steam up like inspiration, eloquent oracular, a volcano heard afar. Rise like the lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew which in sleep had fallen on you. Ye are many, and they are few. I just love that, and I think rather than waste time watching a bunch of egotistical, entitled fools ride around in gilded horse-drawn carriages with dead animals all over them and the stolen wealth of nations on their head, I thought you'd rather listen to this. Thank you for watching. Slángafoil, Sláinte.